everybody, I'm Skaji.
And I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
And we're welcoming you to yet another Tea and Tarot video cast thing.
Welcome to the Videodrome.
And we're doing something new for 2026, so we're going to be serving you up two videos. Two whole videos. We're gonna do one video that's the card of the month, and we're gonna do another video that's the spread of the month. And speaking of events,
new things for 2026.
so the in-person Tea and Tarot event right here at Books, Beans, and Candles in Birmingham, Alabama is always on the first Friday of the month at 6:30. Right here. Third Friday at 6:30 is Sips and Stars. It's an interactive astrology event. And on the fourth Monday at, I think it's still at 6:30.
I believe so, yes.
Check our Facebook in case.
Exactly. Go to our social medias. Go to the shop's webpage. We got a calendar there. It's bookbeancandle.com. But on the fourth Monday at 6:30 is Magic City Pagans. It's a different discussion topic each month. And you can find, again, all this information on our social media. And in March, we have an author coming to town. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so March 27th to the 29th, Christopher Penczak will be right here in Birmingham, Alabama at Books, Beans, and Candles to teach 3 classes this go-round. Usually he comes in for 2 classes, one for Friday night, and then a Saturday and Sunday that's split up into 2 parts. So this year he's doing the Art of Potions on Friday night on March 27th. That is a $75 class. On Saturday, the 28th, it is Curse Breaking. That one's $125. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. all day long. And then on Sunday, it is Evocation and Invocation of Spirits. So we're really excited to see Christopher yet again. Such a wonderful man, very knowledgeable, and I'm super excited.
So we've got a Curse Breaking class. Mm-hmm. Are there any cuss breaking classes?
Oh my god.
You gotta do that on your own, I
guess. So again, check out our social media. All of his workshops fill up pretty quick. So you can call up here to the shop, or you can. I think tickets are available through our website.
Yes, tickets are available through the website.
So without further ado, what is ado anyway? Or
something Old English.
Ado, a female deer. I don't know.
So what we're going to be talking about tonight is the King of Swords.
King of Swords.
So here we have our traditional Rider-Waite-Smith King of Swords. Swords generally associated with the element of air, and here he is looking all Vulcan and logical. The way that I see the King of Swords, especially in this deck, is he's very still. He's not standing up. He's not moving. Mm-hmm. It's a very thoughtful, rational kind of approach to things. Mm-hmm. And I associate the Kings with the element of earth, which is not a traditional way that it's done, but it works for me. So he tends to be practical and sometimes stern and rigid in his thinking.
Yeah.
That's how he comes across for me.
He can be a little bit militaristic because there's definitely that ambition kind of baked into that King of Swords element. I know exactly what's going on. I know how to execute it. So that very determined, very thoughtful consideration kind of thing, but also kind of vibes. And then there you also have these symbolism of the butterfly as well. So you have that transformative element, that flexibility, that fluidity, and kind of the machinations of things, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. I like the King of Swords better than the King of Pence, which feels very boisterous and stubborn to me, whereas the King of Swords has that almost the loving father who can put his foot down from time to time and really get you on the path that you need to be on, especially when we get down on ourselves and we need a good little pick-me-up.
And the King of Swords too, because while he does have his rigidity to him, it's more of almost determined oh no, I've thought this through. I know exactly how to maneuver this in a very action-oriented way, as opposed to that King of Pentacles who's tradition states this.
Yeah, he's got, I've got a plan.
Yeah.
And And I like the fact you bring in the butterfly symbolism, which is often a symbol for the element of air, and air does have that sort of fluid and motion aspect to it, and something that my father talked about. He served in uniform for 36 years. No plan survives first contact with the enemy, and I always keep that in mind. It's keep a plan, make a plan, but you have to be flexible
Right.
to adapt to changing situations, because it's when you get stuck in the rigidity of the plan says this is the next step. What if that next step is off the cliff because conditions have changed?
Yeah.
And this card here, this is out of one of your decks, Magna. Which deck is that?
So this comes from the Gustave Doré tarot deck. Gustave Doré being an artist from the Renaissance, if I'm remembering correctly. I like a lot of his artwork because it's very much like Dante's Inferno and a lot of biblical stories, which can be interpreted in a very beautiful sort of way. So I like the King of Swords in this deck particularly because it comes from the Book of Judges for this king Abimelech. It's a very long, very touchy story, but essentially him having to make a hard decision about essentially taking off the crown permanently and asking his armor bearer to help him do it because traditions and all this other stuff really get in the way, so he has to make those finite decisions to do the thing. And so I like the way it's illustrated a lot in Gustave Doré's artwork.
And I'm gonna lean way up and look at the card real close.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I see.
Yeah.
And I'm sure y'all are seeing it well too, because our editor is awesome, and the card will be popping up real big at any moment now. So when you said the permanent thing, that's the sacrificial king.
Yes.
And that's a common theme in many cultures. The king and the land are one. And so sometimes the king was the sacrifice to feed the land.
Yeah.
Cool. And this one here,
Yeah, this one's from the Fyodor Pavlov deck. And this one, it has a lot of the kind of not similar, imagery of the traditional Rider-Waite. But I do like that he's standing in this one and has a little bit more of a ready to take action pose to me, which very much is very swordy, frankly.
yeah,
And I like the pop of color that this particular artist uses for a lot of these kinds of cards. They're not devoid of color, but it's very strategically used. Again, a very King of Swords element of that strategically used element that I do like a lot. There's a very regal vibe to him and a very sort of like knight in shining armor too, a little bit. So
yeah, he's got that. What you got?
yeah.
This card up here is from the Pulp Tarot. Big fan of that deck. I don't use it as much, but I love the artwork. And the way that this guy feels, it's almost like, businessman, 50s businessman kind of vibe. Have you considered this sword? Which would be another kind of approach to the element of air.
Mm-hmm.
With that whole, salesman kind of vibe comes through in that. But it is the, have you thought about?
Yeah.
Which is
Very
very
methodical.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
This card here from the Wildwood Tarot, the Wildwood Tarot is Rider-Waite-Smith adjacent, but they do have a lot of their own takes, and this card has so many different layers to it for me. It's got a kingfisher on it, and if you don't know, kingfisher is a bird that fishes, hence the name. He flies around up above the surface of a pond until he sees dinner, and then he dives into the pond and spears it with that pointy beak. So it's very much a predator kind of vibe, but he gets his dinner out of the water. And for me, that brings in another layer of not just the air element of thought, but there's that aspect of emotion, which is often lacking, like no emotion, Vulcan, logical,
Yeah.
But this brings in another kind of layer that can really inform a reading when it's like, so you don't have to be all logical.
Right.
You know, you can have some feels.
And also like with like looking at the cups card is like, or cups cards, the suit as a whole, people understandably are like, oh, the emotions, and like that's correct, but it's also like the subconscious itself. So having the Kingfisher card in this particular, the King of Swords, have that Kingfisher element is just like not just your emotions, but like it can't just be logical brain. There's also the subconscious and the things that we don't immediately register as the sources of our ambitions, the sources of our desires, the sources of whatever. That's a really nice like kind of like connection of those two parts of the brain. So.
And you may be wondering why there's a Knight of Swords out here.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the King of Swords. Well, this is from the Urban Tarot, and it is a Crowley Thoth-inspired deck. And there are no kings in Crowley's deck.
No kings?
No kings. Crowley had a different take on this, and it's very much in line with his interpretation of Kabbalah and those kind of things. So for him, the knight fills the role of the king, and in this case, it's a very much more passionate kind of approach to things. So instead of the king, you have the knight, the queen, the prince, and the princess.
Okay.
And he considered the knight and the queen to be the parents of the prince and the princess. So, and this is called the game master. So in this case, and we can see him, he's got a there's the knight, and there's another knight. He's playing himself. You know, he's got a chess game going, and that very much fits the vibe of the King of Swords as a very strategic and logical kind of approach to things. But it does also have some of those knight vibes that you might find in the Knight of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith.
Right. I
But-
do like in this one that there's like I think it's, I can't quite see it. Is it the tower? But it kind of looks like the tower. I can't think of chess pieces because I don't play chess.
It's actually a king.
Yeah.
And it's laying on its side.
But it looks like the tower, like the tarot card, which is kind of a cool touch of just like the idea that like in this case the Knight of Swords is like pulling the strings in the major arcana is really interesting.
No, that is cool. I hadn't looked at it that way.
Because so many times like the major and the minor arcana are kind of like pulled apart as far as like the relationships that they have with each other, at least in like a Rider-Waite-Smith sense. So this is the kind of nice of tie of just like these little bitty day-to-day things that we kind of associate with the minor arcana all do kind of bleed back into the majors.
And that's a way that a lot of especially traditional writers, and I'm talking writers who were writing about the tarot 100 years ago or so, Oswald Wirth didn't even include the minor in his deck.
Yeah.
It was all the majors. It's all about that transcendental, you know, spiritually kind of high-end kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we live most of our life in the day-to-day world, which is kind of where the minors kind of play.
Yeah.
And the way that I see that is they're not, it's all a continuum. They all are playing a part. They all have threads woven in that tapestry of our lives. So we can't favor one to the other. You know, it can't be, that's no big deal. That's just a minor arcana card. No, it's telling us stuff about our life. So this would be the King of Swords, or in Crowley's case, the Knight of Swords. Anybody got any other ideas on these?
Sticking with the Thoth, I also find it fascinating the fire, since swords are typically associated with air. I find it fascinating to have that passion element added to it.
And from the Golden Dawn and Crowley, who have slightly different takes on things, each of the court cards is associated with an element. I just do it different.
Okay.
So for Crowley, the knights are all fire, and it's associated with the initial Hebrew letter in the Tetragrammaton, which is a very fiery, inspirational, and creative letter. So that's where the fire comes in for this card.
Okay.
And so there's lots of different approaches to the court cards in general. A great book that I've enjoyed is Mary Kay Greer's The Tarot Court. And there was another author whose name I can never remember, but her name is first. But she takes a look at the court cards from lots of different perspectives, from traditional Kabbalistic or astrological perspectives, but also from psychology and other approaches. So you can get a wide variety of views on that, because the court cards are, if the minor arcana is the lessons of life, the court cards is grad school.
Yeah,
That's kind
fair.
of the way I see them. Awesome. Court cards. King. This is the first one of these we've done, so we're not used to cutting it in the middle. But we're real glad that you've hung out with us for a little bit for our card of the month, the Tea and Tarot card of the month. Right, coming to you from Books, Beans, and Candles, right here in Birmingham, Alabama. Come see us in person, first Friday night of the month, 6:30, right here. And safe journeys.
Bye-bye.